The rain in Spain stays mainly in the...
Step by step through the sun and rain, over mountains, across the plains. WCBH is on the go. Join us as we walk the Camino.
Just walking past a house with chickens running around the yard. So nice to see. It is day 27. We're heading from Bergo to Mansilla, 20 kilometres today. First stretch was 12 kilometres to a town called Religios. And then the second stretch is a 7 or 8 kilometre run. We expect to get in there probably around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We got up this morning and we thought that our accommodation would be at least serving a breakfast. They weren't, so we had to leave town with no coffee. So that was a long 12-kilometre stretch to Religios with no coffee. We did have a warm lunch. I wouldn't call it a hot lunch, a warm lunch of tortilla in some sort of tomato soupy base, some capsicum, some other vegetables all thrown in there. And we tried their sweetbread, like a French toast, I suppose you'd call it, a Spanish toast, but something that's been soaked in milk and pan-fried with some sugar and cinnamon on top and lemon. Not too bad. The coffee, it was a long stretch to get that coffee, and the coffee was okay. I've had some great cups of coffee. This wasn't one of them, but this one was okay, did the job. I want to talk a little bit about water, how we been managing the water out here, because we are covering a lot of distances and you need to keep drinking despite the cold conditions. We've been fine pretty much. You try and drink as much water as you can in the morning. We're all carrying just the one water bottle. There was one day that I think I carried an extra water bottle. Actually, a couple of days where I've carried an extra water bottle. I think the first few days I carried an extra water bottle because I was unsure how we would go. And then there was one day that had a 17-kilometre stretch between services and I carried an extra water bottle. Well, what we're finding is when you go through towns, most towns, not all, but most towns will have a tap located in the centre square where you can fill up your water bottle. And the water's been really good. I pretty much drink tap water when I travel, but this water's been really good. It was cold this morning. It didn't compute in my brain that it would be cold because it was a clear blue skies. The sun was out and there was no wind, but it was cold. It was cold last night as well. It almost sort of feels that it should be starting to get warmer because the days are ticking on. We're getting further into spring, but this long plain that we're on, we're surrounded by snow-covered mountains, but we're on the plain. It really was cold this morning. Anyway, we've just finished lunch. We've got about another 7 or 8 kilometres to go, and then we will be in Mansilla. Sitting on the couch in our apartment in Mansilla de las Mulas. Got a nice surprise today. I was shocked, but it was a nice surprise that I had in my mind that we had so many more kilometres to walk. And then all of a sudden, the town just appeared. And I was saying to you, we've got kilometres to go. That's not it. But it turned out to be the town. Did you get surprised about how close it was?
No. You had in your head that it was about 7 kilometres and I'd looked and seen that it was only about 5 from where we were.
So you were sneaking and cheating by looking at the GPS?
Yes, I was.
What about the temperature? What is going on with this temperature? We're getting further into March, but it seems to be getting colder.
We seem to have moved more towards the mountains. So that first stretch of the Meseta and the middle, it was quite warm. It'd warm up and it was very comfortable during the day. I wouldn't say it was hot. It was really nice. And then we seem to have moved closer to the mountains because during that stage we couldn't see the mountains at all. So We're back in sort of mountain area where the temperature's dropping back down to 2 degrees and it's meant to be spring, so I don't understand.
Like from about midday through to about 3 p.m. is probably the warmest time, and then not long after that the temperature starts to rapidly drop. Like this morning when we were walking, I don't think I've felt my nose that cold ever before. It was very, very cold. In the apartments, they've all got these radiators. I cannot work out how to use them.
Well, we're not used to all that type of equipment being from the tropics. We're used to a fan and an aircon, and that's it. So the idea of having to heat an area is quite foreign to us, but
They seem to be turning on like they're automatic or something.
they turn on at night at a certain time and then they turn off. But that was bitterly cold this morning. I couldn't feel my fingers or the bottom half of my legs. It was very cold.
The radiators need to be on longer. Dinner tonight, nachos. I don't know how traditional Spanish that is, but we got to the Lupa supermarket and bought the ingredients for nachos. We were both craving a little bit of chili, and we found a nice bottle of chili sauce.
We were craving a lot of chili and we happened to find sriracha, which was an amazing find. And I thought, is this going to be real sriracha or not? But it actually was. And we also found rocket and spinach, which has been a rarity here. So
Some greens, that was good.
yes.
And now we've got this bottle, so when we go to bars and cafes and we end up with tortilla for the millionth time, and I'm not knocking it, I do like the tortilla, but we can now pull out our bottle of sriracha sauce and say, here's one I prepared earlier, and give it a little bit of chili and spice.
Well, I have noticed in this area, bottles of chili sauce are starting to come out. And the last place we were in, they gave us this bottle and it had a skull on it and said extra hot. It wasn't hot at all, but it was very tasty and it was nice to see some chili.
I read the back of that bottle. It allegedly claims to have the Carolina Reaper in it, but it certainly didn't taste like it.
No, it didn't. And the sriracha was a lot hotter that we had tonight. So I live in hope that as we go, we might actually encounter a little bit of real spice.
That the food might get spicier. You know, one of the good things that I have enjoyed has been the oranges, the freshly squeezed orange juice. And I don't know, in my mind, I think that Spain is known for oranges, and they have been exceptionally good.
Yes, that juice has been good. I think it's Valencia.
That's in Spain, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
In the south,
Yes.
probably the sun, this is the opposite end of the country. Tell me about this town. There's a couple of things that this town's known for. Something about an old bridge.
I think it's has Roman and medieval heritage. It's still there.
There's a fortified wall as well.
Yes, the old walls around the city are still, not all of them, but apparently it has a large number of the walls still intact.
And the name Mansilla de las Mulas. Mulas, that sounds a bit like mule.
Yes, so it was known as a mule trading town. So you came here to buy your mules.
It's like the mule with a spinning wheel. You don't get the reference, do you?
No.
Anyway, we are one walking day away from a rest day in Leon. This has been a 9-day slog, 180 kilometres. We've seen YouTube clips. We've looked at guidebooks. And there's been, I suppose, some nightmare stories about the meseta, about how difficult it is. And was it someone even said that people sometimes skip the meseta as well?
Yes, there are a couple of pilgrims and I'd read about it. They get a bus from Burgos and they take it to Leon because they find it boring. The roads are long, but there's a beauty to it, the big blue sky, the green fields. Actually, the fields change colour in time. Some become yellow and red. The road is flat and we do have a lot of, long straights, that 17-kilometre straight, but it is beautiful and serene.
I haven't found it too bad. Like I was expecting, we were describing about it like being stuck in a picture frame and just one gravelly road and the scenery never changing, green fields or even brownfields either side, and just going on and on and on, and just unbearable lack of change of scenery and unbearable temperature, meaning hot. But it hasn't been like that at all. I think there's been a bit of a beauty to the wide open plains, the mountains off in the distance, the agricultural fields. We saw more corn today, some spilt corn as well on the side of the road. A couple more months, that might turn into popcorn, the amount of corn that was spilled on the side of the road.
There was a lot of.
But there has been, I think, a beauty to the Meseta.
Meseta is beautiful. It is a beautiful place. I think it has a bad reputation, which is, I think, just from summer when it can get hot.
Yeah.
One of the pilgrims said she'd walked it in summer and it was 40 degrees. And it would be hot because there are no trees, there's no shade along the side. However, the time we're walking it's beautiful. And there's lots of animals around. We've seen rabbits, boars,
Snakes.
Snakes, deers.
Snake.
It was a dead snake. Deers, and there's birds everywhere. Those big storks.
We had a bit more livestock on the path today as well, where,
Yes.
Previous couple of days it's just been crops. There's been some livestock as well.
We saw the cows off through the trees by the side of the road as well. So it is quite a beautiful walk. It's just different.
And so we get to Leon. That's the end of the second section, the mind part. And then we move into the third section, which is around the spirit. And are we into the Galicia region then?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where that starts. Does that start from Saria? I think. I'm not sure.
And that's a known wet region
Yes.
as well. I don't want to jinx it, but we have been. No, I won't finish that sentence, but we've been really lucky with the weather.
You always say and it rain the next day. It happens every single time.
All right, well, we're going to enjoy this apartment. We've got some space, a couple of bedrooms and a kitchen and all those sorts of things. One more walking day, then we've got our rest day in Leon, and then we get ourselves geared up for the final stretch.
The rain in Spain stays mainly in the
Step by step through the sun and rain, over mountains, across the plains. WCBH is on the go. Join us as we walk the Camino.